All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. If you need a roof, and everyone needs a roof, like Gene Collier always says, give Ireland Contracting a call, 1-800-NEW-ROOF. They're the best in the business. If I need a roof, I would call them. I'm sure Tim Benz would call them. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. It's easy to remember. They are the best. Give us a call right now on the Borders and Borders hotline, 412-575-2600. Talking about the Buccos who are in action in San Diego right now. Late night buck-in tonight for the Pirates out in San Diego. They got one more tomorrow before they come back home against the Rockies, I think, is the first series starting Tuesday at PNC Park. But, you know, this looks like a pretty good game tonight for the Pirates. Hopefully the bullpen doesn't blow it. But, you know, the one thing the Pirates have done is played close games all year long. I only think there was one game that they really blew out an opponent. Tonight, it looks like this might be the second game, and we're almost in the middle of May, almost the end of May.
Yeah, that started at the, I'm not even going to try to say his name. I've heard it pronounced 18 different ways already today, but he was lost. I mean, if you thought Brault looked lost when he first came in and he's steadied the ship, the starter for the Padres, I think Bell rocked him mentally, too, I thought. I thought Bell, hitting that ball as far as he did, he grooved the next pitch to Reynolds as well. And then he just looked lost after Bell hit the second one. Took advantage of a less than adequate pitcher. And, you know, all this talk about, well, the Pirates have built their record on the back largely of just beating teams that are under 500. I mean, how much did we ask time of the Penguins and the Steelers to beat sub-500 teams more often? The reason that the Penguins didn't distance themselves from the Islanders or at least get home ice advantage was because they were crappy against last-place teams all year long. The reason the Steelers didn't make the playoffs was because they played garbage, like garbage, against lesser teams, non-playoff teams. So if the Pirates are just beating the teams they're supposed to beat and hanging around the superior teams, then for now I'm fine with that. Well,
they were the best team in the Central Division last year, and if they have a record like that, they'll definitely be around for the wild card. And you're right, they got to beat the teams they're supposed to beat. The problem I have is the run differential. You would think you would look at them as a losing team. They're 22-20 right now, but they have a negative run differential, one of the worst in the National League. And you know, you would think that they should be losing with all the injuries.
Yeah,
but they're somehow, you know, putting it together.
Hey, look, if you had told me at any point that they're going to be a few games over 500, I would have taken it because I thought they'd finish the season a few games under. If you told me in advance they'd be a few games over with Tyon out for a while, with Archer out for a while, with Marte missing games, with Gonzalez going on the shelf after he was hyped up at as the shortstop position. On top of that, no production from third base, no production from catcher. The bullpen not being as good as we thought it would be coming into the season, save Vasquez and Liriano. I would have said you're nuts. I don't know how they get to 500 with that set of circumstances, but they have.
All right, it's 6-2 out in San Diego right now. Let's go out to Pete in Squirrel Hill. What's up, Pete?
Hey, guys. How are you tonight?
Good. Thanks for calling, Pete.
Hey, Rich, the follow-up to my call last night about how baseball has cheapened itself with the building of micro parks.
Yeah, I remember that call. Yeah.
The ball technology, Rich, you got to be kidding me. Last year, Major League Baseball set a record with over 5,600 home runs in a season. This year on pace over 7,000. That's a 25% increase. And when I mentioned Willie Mays last night, you caught for Willie Mays, I said in the pull grinds with a 482 to center field, he caught balls that were hit 460 and 470. And Paul Zeiss goes off on his tangent. Willie Mays didn't have to hit against guys that threw the ball 100 miles an hour. No, Mays hit against Koufax, Drysdale, Gibson, Marichal, Warren Spahn. They're all in the Hall of Fame. Tell Paul to read up on his baseball history. Thank you.
Well, Paul always goes on tangents, right, Tim? So
I think we're watching Willie Mays at first base right now for the Pirates instead, Josh Bell, with the way he's.
You know, Pete called in last night and he wanted to talk about that. You know, a lot of these ballparks have shortened. They want to see home runs, and you know that's why they screw up a little bit with the balls. Has changed. I heard a good interview with Joe Block, one of the Pirates announcers. It was on the Fan, I think, a few weeks ago, talking about how the ball has changed and the Major League Baseball changes it.
Yeah,
well, you could definitely
parks. I mean, what are you going to? You're not going to build 460-foot parks anymore.
No, because you want to get fans. They want to see offense. You know, they don't go there. There's not too many fan bases that go to watch defense, I don't think. Maybe Pittsburgh's one of them with the Steelers. But people want to go see scoring, home runs. You know, that's
Well, you know, okay, there's a debate
that's why
about
PNC
that.
Park has a short right field.
Yeah, well, and they thought, I remember taking a tour and being told, oh, remember, they weren't going to call it Bucko Blast. It was going to be Splashdowns. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, because they thought so many people would be hitting him in the river.
It would happen all the time, and they were convinced. And I remember looking back at home plate and looking back at the river, and I can't remember who was given the tour. It might have been Littlefield at the time that was given the tour.
Yeah, I might have been on it. I don't remember.
I remember thinking to myself, that's just not going to happen, because it's more of a distance than they made it out to be, and it's not going to happen to that effect. But, you know, there is a theory that fewer people are watching baseball now because there are too many home runs being hit, or basically the 3 true outcomes thing, meaning just strikeouts, walks, and home runs, and that's it. I don't happen to subscribe to that. I think Chicks Dig the Long Ball was
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, that was an effective marketing campaign for a reason, because they do. And so do little kids, and so do businessmen for businessmen specials. Like, they like offense.
The fringe fans, the fans that you're trying to attract.
I think that debate is for sports geeks like us, for people who are watching the nightly sports call at 10:45 on a Saturday night instead of being at the Garth Brooks concert.
Yeah.
Like, the diehards care about that. Baseball's biggest problem when it comes to intrigue isn't what happens once the game starts. It's watch in the first place, to tune in and watch, to plan ahead to get a ticket. And my gripe about that is too many games, too long of a season, not enough stakes.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think a lot of the seasons are too long. I think hockey's too long. I mean,
Yes,
I know
I
I'm going
agree.
on a tangent here, but
No, I
yeah,
agree.
baseball's definitely too long. I mean, it should be shortened by a month. There's no way we should be. It should be the end of October.
You don't need it in April.
You don't. Yeah.
And frankly, you don't need it in November either.
And I don't know if it was if we talked about this.
And you
but
don't
the
need
fact
hockey
that
in June.
No, you do not. You do. I don't even understand why there's hockey in June. But I think we might have talked about this either on the sports call or the showdown one time about how northern teams should not be playing in the north in March and early April. They should figure out a way to schedule where everyone can play in the south and come up north.
Yeah,
and I know that's been something that's been debated in baseball, and I think the Pirates actually brought it up. I talked to Neil Huntington about it a couple times, but it seems like the southern teams don't want to go for it. But it would only be better for baseball.
And then you've also got the issue, and this has been brought up before too, about the weather. Now that's affected attendance this year because attendance is way off again. But there's, I think, 15 fewer postponements this year than last. So I know you're bringing up the weather and the warm climate and cold climate teams, but that's not a reason this year like it had been previously.
Last year it was a big reason. All right, we got to take a break. More thoughts on the Pirates. Also, we're going to be talking about the PGA Championship. It looks like Brooks Koepka's running away with it. John Daly's out. Tiger Woods is out. We'll get Tim's thoughts on that and your thoughts. 412-575-2600. Back in 2 minutes.